The forest was dense, alive with nature's whispers, its paths hidden beneath a canopy of emerald leaves. As you walk, the forest crunches beneath your feet, yet only you seem to hear it. The animals remain undisturbed, perhaps even calmed by your presence. You've traveled these paths many times, but today you're followed by a group of city dwellers who've never left the capital. You get the sense they are of a higher calling. All you know is that it's your job to protect them on this journey. You recall moments of your youth climbing the trees around you and collecting herbs for your teacher, who would take their time to sit and teach you the medicinal qualities of each root, each leaf, each plant. But you also know now the dangers of these woods and why they tend to employ you as a guide. You've asked a small group of humans to give you space as you scout ahead, ensuring nothing larger than the birds above you or more dangerous than the foraging boar crosses your path. Suddenly you notice the trail before you fading. This seems odd as you walk this route just a fortnight ago. Something feels off. Could you have gotten turned around? It's hard to say. The sounds of the forest have faded, leaving only a whispering wind in the canopy. You strain to hear your companions, but their chatter is gone. Turning to head back, you find the path south just now blocked by a thick wall of trees and underbrush. What would you like to do?
Welcome to another background episode of the It's a Mimic podcast, where you never know what you're going to get.
Hello, I'm Megan, and with me is, as usual, Kyle. And today we're joined by Dave, and this episode is called Bonafide, Wide-Eyed Guide Pride.
This episode covers all things about the guide background from the 2024 Player's Handbook that you might need to know.
Before we get started, I just want to wish all the Canadian listeners a happy Thanksgiving.
Phenomenal. What's everybody having for Thanksgiving dinner?
Oh, the usual,
The usual?
Turkey, stuffing, gravy, potatoes,
Oh, Fair enough.
I had a bunch of Easter candy.
But Thanksgiving, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow, that must have lasted a long time. Yeah.
All right, well, today we are going to be talking about the background of the guide, if you guys haven't guessed already. So to give you a little bit of the themes and lore and background of these suckers, so a reminder that when we talk about backgrounds in D&D 5.5 or any edition, shall we say, they are built to give a kind of like a starting platform to build your character's long history, kind of like what you decide you want to do. So remember, you can always kind of get as detailed or as minimal as you want with what you read in the books. So, in the 2024 guide, the guide is the one that really speaks to the nature of all things. The whole concept here is that your characters were raised within some kind of wild somewhere, probably somewhere in the local forests, or just on the outskirts of town, or what have you. The PHB kind of describes you having a lot of knowledge about the local routes and forestations, kind of, helps you act as someone who can traverse these places with ease. One of your main jobs would be something along the lines of guiding priests or other folks who are attuned to the magic wild, because you kind of have an interest in the magics that come from the grounds. There was no guide back in the 2014 handbook, so there isn't a lot to compare this to in terms of lore, but I do feel like there's a lot of wiggle room to determine what kind of earthly connection you have to the grounds, as it clearly just means that you kind of grew up here. This was kind of your home, you knew your way around, so you could quite possibly help others move around that space as well. So what I mean by this is in the 2024 PHB, it does kind of describe very foresty, very naturey, but I feel like you could use any landscape and this would fit, right?
Yeah, it doesn't need to be trees and forest. No. It can be desert.
Yeah, it can be a desert, it can be a mountainside, it can be it's just a place that you have a natural attunement to, because you grew up here and you know the space, right? Mm-hmm. This also kind of like, if we're thinking about what kind of species or, class that fits with this does scream druid to me, in a very classical sense, but can also be like, you can be a part of the town militia and be a fighter, or you can be, a rogue or someone who just knows the outskirts of town.
Oh yeah, this is a really useful set of skills that are very specific, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not everybody needs them, but they are useful, right?
But you, who traverses and knows things around you, I mean, it would fit into almost any kind of class, but I feel it fits very druidy and very roguey.
Very ranger too.
That's true. It's true. I can also see players who are playing, again, like rogues, because it does add, like, we'll get into the stats later, but you can add, like, sneaking abilities around, too. Staying quiet and just kind of knowing your way around. I'm trying to think of species that would fit well with this one. I feel like elves would fit really well with this. Being able to run around and walk around in lightness and stuff like that. Halflings, humans, too.
Again, I think it really goes back to what environment you're putting them in. If you're going to be in mountain tunnels, this could be a dwarf too.
It's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Underdark.
Yeah.
You could do drow too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah. But that's pretty much it. That's all we really have on the guide. So, in terms of the numbers...
So the numbers. So the ability scores for these ones are kind of geared towards Dex, Constitution, Wisdom. And you get skill proficiencies in Stealth and Survival, as well as a tool proficiency with Cartographer's tools. Now, I would say that all of those make sense for a guide, right? You're trying to find your way through a forest. You're going to be stealthy. You're going to know what kind of berries and mushrooms are edible to eat in there, what kind of medicinal plants there are going to be around, and making maps is helpful for anybody.
I just say I love the tools, the cartography tools.
Yeah.
I love that kind of shit.
Well, it makes perfect sense. You're a guide, right? You got to know how to get around.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's really fun. I don't know why, but I immediately went to those people that sell maps in Hollywood to like celebrities' homes.
Oh, star maps?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah. I think that would be really kind of fun.
You have like a little caravan outside the city where you just like there's a guy standing there. You just got the same map drawn over and over again, selling it for like a rupee.
Yeah. I think it could also be funny if you're a rogue and you're selling like maps that are like one of a kind maps that'll get you through this forest safe, and they just lead you into a trap so they can rob you later.
Yeah, exactly.
You resell the map, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Sell this back to you.
So in terms of calligrapher's tools, it is a dexterity-based skill. It costs 10 GP to make them or to buy the calligraphies.
Is it cartography or calligraphy?
Oh, yeah, cartography. Those are different things. That's 15, and it's wisdom-based. I know how to read. So you utilize this to draft a map of a small area. And the DC for doing it is 15 to be able to make a comprehensive map that basically anybody could read.
What counts as a small area? Like,
as a DM, I would probably look at it like the valley you're in.
Yeah.
Right? If you can't realistically see that much further.
Yeah. Kind of like what your eye can see in that moment.
Absolutely.
Does it have anything for like longer? Like if you like traveled through a forest, if you sit down and like decide to try and draw where you've walked?
I think you'd have to re-roll it every time you did like a new area.
Yeah.
Right? So if you were drawing, I don't know, a continent, you'd have to do it, roll consistently.
Yeah.
Like a dozen times.
You want to know a fun fact? When Lewis and Clark came across North America,
Yeah.
They cartographied their way across, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were accurate to within like 30 miles
Which is
when they
dope.
were all said and done, which is just wild to me.
Yeah.
Like all the river bends and like, you know, here and there and like getting turned around, this and that, and they still managed to, within 30 miles, chart it accurately. That's wild.
Being able to eyeball distances like that and like not even having the advantage of like a bird's eye to be able to do
Yeah, they
all
weren't
that.
throwing up drones or anything.
Yeah. There were no drones to be had back then.
No.
But I feel like in the D&D rule set, what I might try and do then, if I want, like if I was to be a guide and I was walking through a new space and I kind of wanted to use my background of being able to create maps and spaces, I would say, yes, you're concentrating on writing your map, but you have disadvantage on perception as you're like looking around or like looking for other things, right? Because you're just looking for landmarks. You're not looking for if there's animals in the area or if there's wolves or XYZ, right?
Yeah.
So that's maybe how I would do that. But anyways.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, because you're focusing so hard on this like one task, right? Because it can't be easy.
You got your little tiny inkwell on the back of a horse.
Yeah.
You know? Like
Well, I think it implies there's like tools for measurements and things, right? Like it's not just a pen and paper.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Yeah.
Take some time.
Yeah, that's pretty much the numbers for it.
All right. So I guess the next part we have then is the feat. So with guides, the feat that we get is the Magic Initiate feat. Now, traditionally, you can kind of pick which spell list you want. With the guide, it's specifically the Druid spell list. Okay? You have to pick that one. But you do get to pick your casting modifier during creation. You can pick intelligence, wisdom, or charisma, which I thought was kind of neat. I like that. makes it more versatile, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you're playing for the most part, right? What this gets you is 2 druid cantrips and 1 first level spell from the druid list. Now that's all right. That's nothing to scoff at. Cantrips, I mean, that gives you druid craft. That's super useful. You can be really versatile with that. Like, it does a lot, right?
Yeah, and shillelagh.
And shillelagh, yeah, you can, right? Cast that, never use it. And then the first level spell, I mean, you get cure wounds. If you're not if you're a first line fighter that doesn't cure, like, this is really a good way to check that box, right? Now you get to cast this once per long rest. For the first level spell, the cantrips aren't cantrips. You just get to do those, and it does not require a spell slot, so you don't have to be any sort of caster in order to do it. And if you are a caster and you're out of spell slots, you can still cast them. You can change the spells when you level up, but they still have to be from the original druid list. And you can take this feat multiple times, but you can't take the same spell list. So, like, this time is druids. Take it next time, I have to be from the wizard list or the sorcerer list or whatever, right? I thought this one was actually pretty good. I like a 7 out of 10 on this one in the way of the feats. I mean, who doesn't want free healing? Like, this is a slam dunk. You know, if you're a fighter or even a rogue or a ranger or someone that doesn't traditionally heal, this is perfect, right? Yeah. Although if I'm a rogue or ranger, there's a couple other that stand out, like alert and lucky. Lucky, it's free advantage. As a rogue, take that every time. Yeah. Like, come on, seriously. Yeah. And then alert, you can, I mean, you don't get it for this class, but or for this background, but you get to add bonuses to your initiative. And if somebody rolls higher than you, you can trade initiative with them. So you get to go first. Like, that seems pretty powerful too. Yeah,
that addition to that feat was, I like that a lot.
That's really nice. I like this one. It's good. It's 7 out of 10 though. It's not the best, but it's certainly not the worst by any means. I think this is great for any full cast, or for any not full caster, any half caster or melee, right? Yeah. I would probably never pick this as a paladin because I'm going to get my lay on hands anyways. Why do I need my healing spell? Because realistically, I'm only ever going to pick healing for this. Yeah. That's kind of what it's there for. There's nothing else that really stands out to me from the druid list, right?
Yeah, if you're doing something like a paladin, there's many other backgrounds you can choose that fit.
Right? Like, it just doesn't fit full casters really at all.
No. It doesn't even scream wizard or sorcerer or any of those to me. Like,
no, I like the idea of this for like an assassin rogue, someone that's going to kind of get out on their own and be able to heal. But why would I not take lucky and get advantage?
Correct.
You know, like, it just, I don't think it's as useful as it might sound.
Yeah,
you know?
That's fair.
If a druid was picking this as a background, would you let them choose a different spell? Because you said that you get magic initiate with druid specifically, but I mean, if they already have druid,
no, I give them extra cantrips and then that free first level spell with no spell slot cost, right?
Yeah. Like, that's the addition, is the no spell slot cost.
Right, that's pretty good. I mean, if they were really bitching and moaning, we can make that work. But as is, no, I don't think so. For the equipment, they start with 2 choices, right? A or B. A is a short bow, 20 arrows, cartographer's tools, bedroll, quiver, tent, traveler's clothes, and 3 gold, or 50 gold. I don't know why you would ever take the starting gear. It doesn't seem useful to me. Like, with 50 gold, I could buy useful things like flasks of oil and water skins, things that I'm actually going to use while I'm adventuring. Backpacks, right? Like, there's no backpack there. There's a bedroll, great, but like, we can get a bedroll. That's not a big dedeal.
Yeah. But isn't the backpack normally included in the class equipment, or does all equipment come from backgrounds now?
In character creation?
Yeah.
Most of it comes from, it's the same. Some will come from your background, some will come from
from that.
From your class.
But I just feel like there's better things you can get than bedrolls, quivers, and a tent. You know, traveler's clothes. Honestly, I'm never tracking when my players are using these things anyways, because I'm assuming you have bedrolls. If we're resting, like, come on, we don't need to get that nitty gritty. That's not the kind of...
It's the professional courtesy.
Right? Yeah. These things scream, I play rules as written. Yeah. But if I'm playing rules as written, I probably know better than to get the starting gear anyways, and can min-max my way through that list of gear. Yeah. With that 50 gold rather than what they give me here, right? Because I mean, I'm probably not taking a short bow. I'm probably going to do something a little bit fancier.
Like, for example, the ranger, your starting equipment as a ranger, you can choose between leather armor, scimitar, short sword, longbow, quiver, and then druidic focus and all that kind of stuff. So,
But it's weapons, not gear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is your packs. Well, you get an explorer's pack and XYZ. So you do get a kit from your class.
Yeah.
And then your background is just additional. Similar to what the backgrounds were before. Like you would get, but you get less. Like I think that you get like one kit. Like you'd get like you'd probably get the cartography tools and that's it in the old one. If guide was to exist in 2014.
I see. Okay.
So like for instance, the Hermit, you get an herbalism kit and that is it in 2014.
Yeah, honestly, you're making it sound even worse. I would rather just take the money and run.
Give me the money.
Well, I mean, if I'm getting a quiver and arrows and stuff, why do I need this? Right. The big find here is the cartographer's tools, and I can buy that anyways, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem like a very good fit. Honestly, I just don't think
You don't like being told what to do.
I don't think buying the starting gear is useful. I'm going to buy things like ball bearings and caltrops.
Yeah.
I don't want bedrolls and quivers. You know.
Hey man.
Well, it's not really the style of game that I tend to.
I
play,
know.
right?
I know you're
Yeah.
You don't want the flavor text of the bracelet that your mom handed down to you. You're like, that's nice, Adam. Move on.
Yeah, no, I don't want that. What am I going to do with a bracelet?
Yeah. But as mentioned, there is no guide in 2014. There is only exists in 2024, so there's not a lot of major difference to speak about. So let's roll right into our open discussion and chat about this. So let's roll dice, and I've got some questions.
Oh. I'll let you all pick dice first. Which one do you want, Kyle?
I'll go yellow. It's closer.
All right. Oh.
Well, I had a 20, and now I have a 6.
Yeah, that's right.
I have a 15.
Great. Question the first. When it comes to D&D adventuring, do you think this is a rich enough theme for players to be inspired by?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's a lot to do with. There's a lot you can do with this, right?
Yeah.
Like this, the guide background, like you said, you can kind of tailor make it to whatever environment your guys are adventuring through, right? You can have local guides. You can have it. You can take the. That's what I like about the backgrounds is you can kind of just like skin an NPC with the background. Done. Throw them out there. It gives them a personality. It gives them a type. It gives them everything you need, right? Mm-hmm. And this does this very well. Fleshes it a little bit more, right?
Yeah. No, and it still gives like a lot of room for, again, you can pick and decide what kind of environment your character grew up in, and like you can kind of do that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So, but
yeah, I think there is plenty, especially when you combine it with a class. But there are a lot of cool things that you could go for, even outside of, I don't know, forest or desert. You could also have a guide for the Feywild, or you could have one for Shadowfell, right? Like those seems like great places that you would really need a guide for.
You can have like an asshole of a guide too.
Yeah.
Especially in the Feywilds, or I imagine like if you had like a big bad evil guy that had like a labyrinth outside of their castle or outside their city or town or what have you, and just play through a labyrinth, you'd have like a little guide that takes you through whether they're telling the truth or not.
Yeah.
Whomst can say. But I do like...
You're playing with Megan? Probably not.
Yeah. But I feel like, especially with this background, it's so open-ended that even as a DM, I would throw this on a character here and there kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel about the mechanics of this background?
I like the addition of the feats to the background. This in the new edition, I really, really like it. Mm-hmm. It gives them more meaning, right? Before, my background essentially just kind of figured out which additional skills I was going to get proficiency with, mm-hmm. and then what kind of tools I would have moving on. Mm-hmm. Right? I didn't really do too much else with it. So this gives you a little bit more, and it makes it a little more versatile.
It's true. I mean, I like the fact that the skill proficiencies kind of sit in here in a bit of a more well-rounded way. Like, stealth and survival aren't always put together, if that makes sense. Like, sometimes you get, like, stealth and, like, perception, or something that fits more into, like, the sneakiness of things, or, you know, whereas, like, adding the survival does make it feel like, of course, you are within the wilderness and kind of puts you in that space. So I think adding those two together feels right in those terms, and you're not always going to take those two as a druid. Not always. Sometimes you would, but if you're playing more of a roguish character, you might already have stealth. I think that's the that's the hard part, is like you probably already have it somewhere in your kit, but if you're doing something more traditional like a druid or something that's not naturally stealthy, it would come in handy. But I always found that difficult when kind of stacking these kinds of things together, is you sometimes have that overlap in skill. So I like this one that it added the survival aspect to it, because it makes it a little bit more flavorful.
Yeah. I find survival is probably the most overlooked of all of the skill proficiencies. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think I pick it on a whole lot of characters unless it's like, I don't really want anything else.
And it's something we tend to roll the most.
Yeah.
Like...
I don't know. I
It's just not sexy enough, you know?
It's not a sexy skill.
Oh, damn. I was going to say,
Oh,
like,
you know
I
how to
tend to...
Sorry, Dave.
I was gonna say, I tend to pick characters that have it as one of their base skill proficiencies.
Yeah.
And it's one of Dave's, like, base skills in life. So...
Yeah, I know how to survive. Yeah. We're on a 38-year streak.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, this is coming out when? 39-year streak. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But even the addition of adding Constitution as like one of your ability score improvements, it does make you seem like more resilient and tough from being in the wild.
Yeah.
It just, I feel like the themes fit really well. So I like the mechanics of it. It makes sense to me.
They really do.
Yeah. What is a role-playing tip you have for someone who has never played as this background before, which was probably all of us because it's new?
Yeah.
Oh, gee. A roleplay tip for a guide? I don't know, just really pay attention to, when your DM's talking about your setting and your surrounding. Pay attention because those are the little features that are gonna flesh out your character better, right? You're gonna be able to use these little tips and tricks. Oh, you're a guide, so maybe you know this area a little bit better, so maybe you can talk your way into advantage because you know this a little bit better. Like, I don't know, just you can really kind of lean into that and use that expertise to try to gain the upper hand on the DM sometimes. I'm always a sucker for, hey, can I get advantage because...
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah.
This is definitely one of the backgrounds that you would want to be able to be like, do I get advantage because... And you can use it anywhere. You're in the city, you're in the tunnels, you're in a cave somewhere. It's like, can I get advantage because...
Yeah.
Right?
I can see the wear patterns on the ground, so I know a bunch of people have walked this way, or like... See,
Not even, I've been guiding in this forest for 30 years.
Yeah.
I know that this tree has been uprooted in the last 10 days.
I know, but
right?
I'm saying you can use it even outside of your home base, right? Like, I don't know, when I think of a guide, I think if you know one area very well, likely, right? You don't know...
You know your hometown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You spent enough time in this one particular branch of a forest going between two cities that you could tell
you're an
anything's
expert
off.
on this particular region,
Yeah.
not outdoorsmanness in general.
Not McDoors McGee.
Outdoorsmanness, yeah.
Oh my goodness. But you can say, like, the skills that I have gained from tracking for years gives me the ability to be better at finding my way around anywhere than other people in the group. So can I get advantage because? I also like the idea that you can play someone who's a guide with the arrogant confidence of, like, I know where I'm going, even though you don't. Is what I would lean into 100%. Even if I rolled a 1, I'd be like, I know where I'm going.
Yeah. I definitely know where I'm going. You're holding the map upside down.
They're confidently incorrect.
Yeah. I'm like, that was your old character's motto.
Oh, God, yeah. Until Dan killed him.
Yeah. So sad. So sad.
Well, you're confidently dead now.
I'm not so sure.
Oh, Lord. What is an interesting NPC that we can use to contact to help flesh out the background a little bit?
An interesting NPC. Oh, this is, if you got to go from one spot to the other, this is your slam dunk. This is the guy that's piloting the carriage that's taking your party from one thing to the next and setting up camp for you. Like, that's who this guy is. That's the easiest one, right?
I also feel like this is the person that you run into in the middle of the wild when you're already lost.
Yeah.
And it's a solid NPC to be like, hey, guys.
Yeah. This is your DM throwing you a bone.
Remember the guy that we met at that oasis that was giving us the berries? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
I wanted to say Urbandale, but it wasn't Urbandale.
No,
but,
it wasn't.
Yeah.
No, that's the same idea.
Yeah.
But.
I want to make him as sleazy as humanly possible. He's selling star maps,
You really sit on this star map.
Honestly, it's a good pitch. I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it.
Right? Like in a famous city, I can tell you where all the best wizards are. And then just, he's getting handouts from the stores to recommend people to go there. I want him oily and just sleazy. I don't know why, but it's in my head now.
Greasy star map salesman.
Yeah, something along those lines, right? Or he's leading you into traps, or just you can't trust him, or completely illiterate and he's giving you just bullshit maps, which I guess is totally against what the point of the background is. But
I kind of like the idea of this guy being just absolutely stupid and ignorant to everything except his profession.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Like, he knows everything about this and he is always right. But if you take him a half an inch outside of what his knowledge and comfort zone is, he is a bumbling fucking fool and isn't really aware of it.
That's also genius.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the party's like, how can we trust this guy? He's an idiot. But
He's just
never
so
wrong.
fucking smart,
Yeah.
but he's
the
not.
Rain Man of map making.
Oh man, I feel like you could also play them as like the lawful stupid sometimes too. Like to your point of just like being kind of ignorant to everything else going on around them. They have no idea what's going on in town.
Yeah.
They don't know that there's a festival or a celebration going on, so they just have like you got weaponized incompetence or something along those lines. But yeah, I would find a bumbling oaf otherwise. But once you're in the forest, it's like business time.
Yeah. All right, I can get behind that.
All right, can you come up with an organization that would have a lot of NPCs with this background?
Wayfarers Guild, right? Just a simple adventuring guild. They have a house in every major city where you can check in and be safe for the night and get something to eat. And, you know, there's dues, of course, but, you know, gets you to and from.
Postmen?
Yeah.
Like mail carriers?
Well, yeah, because
You're not wrong!
No, you're not wrong, because they, like Pony Express, they go from one city to another, back and forth. They only have a little section. So, of course, they'd know that area really well.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
That would be a good, like, bumping into an NPC while you're out adventuring kind of person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mail for you.
Yeah, you have a mail system in your system now. It's
Yeah.
like in your campaign. And so if you want to send letters to like folks, you could just really just call for the Canada Post. Like comes up with his little brown shorts.
Yeah.
Basically described as wearing a Scout's uniform. Like
Yeah.
so cute.
That's a good one, Kyle.
Yeah. I mean, I like the idea of like, again, because you can use them in any type of terrain, and I would want to make a couple, like a pirate's crew that has like a bunch of guides to take you across. It doesn't have to be large bodies of ocean water. It can be like large lakes and rivers and stuff like that. But I feel like boat folks would have guides to take you along, like places that have like a delta, and they would have guides that could take you through the different like smaller caverns of the riverways and what have you.
Well, even you get into like major cities nowadays, when big ships come in, they send a pilot, a local guide, out to navigate into like the tricky areas, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I watched enough of, what was that, Below Deck? Great television series. But watching them, like, park those giant, like, 50-foot yachts is a frightening experience. I would never want to do that.
Yeah.
I'd be so scared. But anyways. All right. Everybody gets to create a character that would utilize this background. Remember that it doesn't have to be anything perfect or a perfect mechanical build. Just something interesting, a character concept, a backstory, or a personality of some kind.
I mean, honestly, I think I'm using this for my current character.
You really are.
My fairy scout. Like,
Yeah.
now I don't play 5.5, right? So I wouldn't get this magic initiate feat, but holy shit, I would use the hell out of that, you know?
Yeah.
Being able to cure myself, yeah, of course. Now, I'm focused on curing, but there is more than that. You can pick any first level spell, right?
Yeah.
There are other ones. I think Ice Knife stood out to me as well.
Mm-hmm.
Charm Person is always questionable. But, you know, there's a whole bunch. Detect Magic. Like, there's some good stuff in there, too, right? Speak with Animals, Thunderwave, you know. But, yeah, no, I like the idea of that scout, that reconnaissance. They live on the outskirts of town. Not quite in town, but not quite out either, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That screams to me, right?
I like the idea of using it a little bit different, because I'm leaning into the fact that guides tend to know everything about their surroundings and are the best person for the information that is required for the area. So I am thinking more of like a big war game, and in terms of like battlefields and when there's a lot of injuries that happen on a battlefield, I'm thinking like charge nurse of a hospital that just knows where everything is, knows where everything's being triaged. And so if you end up on a battlefield and you have no idea where to go, I would want someone who has that kind of a background.
Oh, that's interesting. The idea of like being a guide for not necessarily an area, but a situation?
Yes.
Yeah.
A situational guide.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So if I was to build a character in their background, it would be that they came from a town that, like, went to war and this happened, and then like they've learned in their background how to take care of these very specific emergent situations. And then in life, they just know how to guide other people through those kinds of situations. So you can get called upon by a town or a town's guard to be like, hey, we're going to battle. We need these certain people and you're on the roster. And that brings your group into a terrible situation, right? Because you are now for hire because you have a very specific and special necessity, right? So, yeah.
I like that. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of like a little urchin living in some huge city, and they're a guide for they're like, I know how we can get around the guard posts. I know how we can avoid any patrols that are going on. Like, you need to sneak somewhere in a city. This dirty, grubby little kid comes up to you and goes, hey, come on. And they'll take you through the sewers.
Oh,
like,
you mean a crime guide?
The crime guy! You're the guide of the crime lords!
I wasn't specifically thinking about that. It was just like, this is how this little kid makes money. When he's living out on the streets, he's got nobody else.
I know when security cameras are turned just so.
Yeah, right? He's got it timed out. He's got all the nooks and crannies where you can hide out, and while you wait something out, we can cross over some rooftops over here, and then we can get down over here. Like, you want to sneak around a city, maybe the cops are looking for you, and you need to avoid them. And then this guy knows how to do it.
Yeah, and if you built that into like a character that you're playing, it would be interesting, like, that you come from like this group of folks that do this, and then again you're for hire in terms of it's like a heist guide almost. Yeah. You're the professional that's like, yeah, I'll scout it out for like a week and then I'll have a map for you. Just like, give me some time. And then you come back with like, yeah, I have all the information that is required. So
I like that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, before we kind of wrap up this episode, we talked about the background, of course, that is of the guide. It seems like we're all kind of on the page that we kind of like it. It's interesting. It's new. It's a little fresh. We like the mechanics of it. Any other final thoughts for it?
I can see myself playing this often.
Again, you already are. So
yeah, this is you in real life.
Yeah, and I don't role play well. I tend to just stick with what I know, and this just screams me. I will probably use this.
Yeah.
I honestly will probably use the more than just Cure Wounds as the first level spell, but Shillelagh for sure. Good thought, Kyle.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
It didn't come out with it myself, but I like it. I like it. Honestly, I think I like it more in terms of an NPC. I think there's a lot of cool ideas that you can do with it, and yeah, I think it's fun. I think there's a lot of different situations that you can use it in that could make fun role play.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful thing about the backgrounds currently with the 2024 book is that they feel very fleshed out enough that you can just pick one and you have an NPC. You don't have to put too much thought into it. You can almost like roll random character with a background because it gives you enough information, right? But as a player, I would probably not necessarily use it. Same thing, I would probably use it more as an NPC, but I know that it's kind of, this is Dave. Dave is a background. This is your background. Without a lot of the, do you do druid magics?
We don't talk about that.
Okay, fair enough. Noted.
Well, thank you once again for joining us for another episode of the It's a Mimic podcast. You can find us on all your podcast apps, and you can also recommend us to all your friends. See you next time.
That's all for this background episode of the It's a Mimic podcast. This episode and others can also be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and most other podcast apps. Please take a second to engage with a like, follow, subscribe, comment, or review to help push our engagement. Thanks for listening to It's a Mimic, where you never know what you're going to get.
This week on the It's a Mimic podcast, we are playing catch up for the last time. We're finally catching up with all of those weeks off that we had to take because the computer was down. And so now we are coming back with a furious vengeance. Everyone on the Patreon got to listen to me talk about theme again yesterday, but I had a bonus rant before about theme and just themes in media and how we should be incorporating them. But this time, I'm actually giving examples. So I sat down and I kind of build 2 one-shot adventures. One of them is going to be used for the upcoming Halloween special. So it is free to go join the Patreon. You'll be able to listen to that even as a free member. You can just follow us and get the occasional rant. And that's the one that came out yesterday. Today, obviously, we're talking about guides, which is fantastic because Also on the Patreon today, we released the next episode in the Fae series, which was on the Domains of Delight. That is going to wrap up our trilogy to start off the Fae series. We did the first one on the Feywild, the second one on the Archfey and the denizens of the Feywild, and this one on specifically Domains of Delight and how to build them. And now that this trilogy is done, the majority of the episodes for the Fae series moving forward is going to be on individual Fae creatures and the stat blocks and kind of the reflection with the real world lore as well. And does it line up? Does D&D actually match folklore and Fae stories? So that's all today. Tomorrow, Robert and I sit down and go over the last of another trilogy where we wrap up the conversation on cults that he and I have been talking about for months now. So it is finally time to wrap up that. And then on Thursday, we're talking warlocks. Both on the public channel, we're going to break down the base warlock class, but then also we're talking warlock cantrips in the spells series on the Patreon. So to wrap the whole thing up on the Patreon, we are finishing it all off with an episode on the coffee table book, Worlds and Realms. So that's a pretty packed week for us, and we're just really getting geared up because October is going to end with a bang. Stay tuned at the very end of this episode to get a little bit of an audio teaser of what may be waiting for you at the end of the month. But for now, let's get to some more inspirations. Let's get to some good stuff. So, it's the end of another episode on backgrounds, so let's look at a place, NPC, and plot hook that you might be able to tie into the topic of the day. For guides, I was thinking about something out in the wilderness that would be kind of a mystery. I'm not going to set up a whole riddle or puzzle. I think everybody kind of knows what their party is going to want to investigate, right? I think that a lot of puzzles and riddles, while they're good to have listed out, they should really be built for your own specific table, and maybe we'll do an episode on that sometime in the future. But I was thinking about kind of what the problem is that needs to get solved by a puzzle or a riddle. Something out in the wilderness, because I wanted to touch on the exploration pillar without just having do a perception check kind of challenge. So I came up with the idea of a path that repeats itself. Now, I actually kind of stole this idea from the show From, which is not the best show in the world, but it certainly is interesting. So I like the idea of, as you continue to go, and it's not around the corner, but maybe it's 3 different hills through any kind of terrain. But when the path goes over the hills, when you go off the path, there'll be encounters, the random encounters, you'll have to fight and whatnot, and you'll dwindle your resources. But if you follow them, when you go over the last hill, which is the tallest one, and you come down the other side, you look up and you see more hills, and it's the same 3 hills in front of you again. And it's just this repeating path over and over. The only detail that I would give would be a little hut that when they come up to it, it's right, off the road, and when they come up to it, the hut looks abandoned. If they go in and they investigate, it looks like someone's actually squatting there. It's not lived in, but it's inhabited, right? This person is clearly, like, there's a backpack in the corner, and there's a small fire that was built in the fireplace, and there's some maybe like fresh bones from a chicken that was just cooked, right? But like, there's nobody there. And then after 4 or 5 times through this, when they start to get frustrated, I would then introduce Mad Old Penny. And Mad Old Penny is going to be my NPC in this area. She's an older satyr, probably pushing, by human description, like her 50s probably. And her only job is going to sit there and mock them and harass them and tell them that, hey, you're going to die here. You're going to die because there's no way out. I've been here for such a long time, and I can conjure food for myself, but I can't conjure enough for everybody. And I don't think you guys can conjure enough food, so good luck with that. And then have them start to freak out and explore the hut for clues. Maybe you've got the puzzle in there, or the hut is a red herring and it could be something else, some way that they've got to walk specifically along the path. Maybe Mad Old Penny knows some songs or some rhymes or something that might give them clues, but she's unaware of the fact that these are clues herself. But I thought that would be a really interesting thing for a guide to pick up on immediately, that, hey, this shouldn't be happening. This land is cursed. How are we going to deal with it? And because they're a guide, they're going to have the skills and ability to really explore and dig into the exploration pillar. When it comes to the mimic that I want to throw in, because I always want to throw a mimic in every one of my locations, I think that there should be a large boulder that it's not large, but like large size of like a maybe a small black bear or something. And when you describe it, every time they come over the hill, you describe the hills in front of them, and you give the same description over and over and over again. It should be long enough and detailed enough that when you move the boulder around, they shouldn't immediately understand that, oh, it's not where it was before, right? Like, it was on the upward slope of the second hill, or it seems to be just near the top of the upward hill, or of the second hill, right? Like, then you just hit them with this over and over, and then maybe eventually it's on the third hill, and they are witnessing this same mimic, just like it's always Mad Old Penny. They're in there, and Mad Old Penny is aware of the fact that the boulder moves, but doesn't think anything of it, because, boulders move sometimes, and that's just her explanation. Anyway, I thought that'd be fun and interesting, but I think it's enough rambling for now. If you'd like to support us, we have a store with some merch and a donate button on our website, itsamimic.com. You can also head to itsamimic.com to find a comprehensive episode guide and more information about the show. We do have a Patreon, which not only offers access to our exclusive Discord server, but also hosts over 100 episodes, including a variety of bonus episodes covering topics like 5th edition book reviews and the campaign builder, spells and gods, fae, homebrew inspiration, and even the Blood War. If you'd like to submit any mailbag questions, please reach out to us through any of the social media links in the show notes of this episode, or send us an email at info@itsamimic.com. This has been an episode of It's a Mimic, where you never know what you're going to get. The following is a brief audio teaser about what to expect from It's a Mimic during the week of Halloween. No, your speakers are not broken. Let's see if you can decipher the message.
Speedbird 2276 Heavy 5 is on the way. Speedbird 2276 Heavy, roger.